Welcome back to the LackLuster channel. On June 24th of 2022, Chris Hanna was outside a bar in Humble, Texas with his girlfriend. Chris was involved in a fight involving two other men and admittedly retrieved a weapon from his truck. He fired the weapon, but there are no reports that anyone was injured. Still, not cool. But afterwards, he called 911 to report the discharge of his weapon. When officers arrived, Chris handed over the gun and sat on a curb, waiting to be questioned. Officer John Cox of the Humble Police Department eventually approaches Chris and motions for him to stand. In the video, Chris raises his hands. Officer Cox reaches for his right wrist and pulls his arm down. While holding handcuffs like a pair of brass knuckles, the officer sucker punches Chris, rendering him unconscious. Officer Cox holds Chris down by the back of his neck and appears to lift his head up and slams his face back into the ground. The attack caused so much damage that they had to bandage him on the scene before taking him to jail. Chris doesn't recall the incident, but despite the video evidence, Chief Ken Thies of the Humble Police Department released the following statement. On June 24th, 2022, at around 2:30 a.m., Officer John Cox responded to reports of a disturbance at a local bar. Upon arrival, Officer Cox confronted an apparently intoxicated man in the parking lot who claimed to have been in a physical altercation with what he described as two bikers who began punching him in the face. The suspect had obvious injuries to his face and head. The suspect then admitted to firing a firearm at least twice at the two men with whom he was fighting. After securing the firearm, Officer Cox moved to detain the suspect, at which point the suspect backed away from the officer and refused to turn around and put his hands behind his back. Despite the disgrace for police chief's claim that Chris backed away from Officer Cox and refused to turn around, sucker punching an obviously surrendering suspect is perhaps one of the lowest, unethical, and morally bankrupt actions the officer could have chosen to take. The chief's statement continues, knowing the suspect had admitted to possessing and firing a firearm earlier in the evening. Once the suspect continued to attempt to put space between himself and Officer Cox, the officer took the suspect down onto a patch of grass and handcuffed him without further incident. At no time did the officers strike the suspect, and it was determined the injuries suffered by the suspect were caused solely by the altercation in which he was involved prior to Officer Cox's arrival. The video, however, shows otherwise. Chris appears to be uninjured, or at the very least, much less damaged prior to Officer Cox sucker punching him with a metal object in his hand. Claiming that the officer didn't strike Chris only implicates the chief as incoherent, dishonest, and incredible. It's understood that a chief is expected to support his officers, but to deny what is clearly shown on surveillance video is a disgusting act of dishonesty, and no mention of the excessive force was documented on the police report. Chris was charged with aggravated assault based on him threatening serious bodily injury against the victims and spent 19 hours in jail after the incident. Multiple news agencies report that there is no sign that the officer has faced any disciplinary action or criminal charges. And after browsing the department's website, I found that Officer Cox is in fact still on the street and has made several more arrests over the past month. Chris has hired a lawyer to represent him and pursue civil action against the officer and the department. And as this story continues, I will be sure to update you here or on my community page. I have a few big stories coming out soon, and some bigger updates. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think would be an appropriate measure of action for the department to take against Officer Cox? As always, thanks for watching. If you have a video you'd like to submit for review, use the link in the description or pinned comment. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification for future content. And remember to like, share, and comment down below of what you think of this interaction. It really helps the channel. If you enjoy our content, try our other channels, LackLuster Limited for criminal psychology content and The Odd Side for paranormal videos. Shirts and other merchandise are available at the Teespring store. Memberships start at just $1 if you'd like to help further support the channel and get a slick Lack logo next to your name. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. All links are down below.